Stop. Listen to this right now. That sound? That's the illusion breaking. The comfortable lie you've been living shattered into 1,000 pieces on the floor. Because right now, at this exact moment, someone less qualified than you is sitting in a room you'll never access, making decisions that affect your industry, building relationships with people you can't reach, creating opportunities you don't even know exist. And you're on the outside, nose pressed against the glass, watching, waiting, wondering why you're invisible. Look at your phone right now. See that silence on the screen? That message you sent 3 days ago that's still sitting there, read but unanswered? That email to someone who could change your career that got nothing back but digital crickets? That's not random. That's not bad timing. That's not them being busy. That's the invisible wall you've been hitting your entire life. And you don't even know it's there. You walk into rooms where real decisions get made, where fortunes shift with a handshake, where careers live or die based on who remembers your name when the door closes. And you stand there, competent, prepared, valuable, and completely invisible, like a ghost screaming in a room full of people who can't hear you. You've watched it happen over and over. That guy who's less skilled than you, less dedicated, knows less. Somehow he's in the inner circle. That woman who started after you is already 3 levels above you. They don't work harder. They don't have better degrees. But somehow the powerful orbit around them like planets around the sun. And you're still waiting. Waiting to be discovered. Waiting for someone to finally see your worth. Waiting for the meritocracy you were promised in college to actually materialize. Here's the truth that's going to sting. That wait is forever. Because the game you think you're playing, it doesn't exist. There's a different game happening. A game with rules nobody taught you. Rules that Niccolo Machiavelli figured out 500 years ago when he wrote The Prince. Rules that Robert Greene systematized in the 48 Laws of Power. But you dismissed them, called them manipulative, dark, beneath you. And that moral superiority? That's precisely why you're losing. Because while you were being authentic, being yourself, being the person your parents told you to be, others were studying something else entirely. They were learning the architecture of influence, the physics of power. And here's what they learned that you didn't. Power is not a reward for being good. It's a consequence of understanding. Understanding what? Human nature. And human nature, when you strip away the Instagram captions and the LinkedIn posts and all the performative authenticity, operates on 3 fundamental forces: self-interest, fear, and vanity. You can pretend this isn't true. You can retreat into your illusions about fairness and karma and hard work paying off. Or you can wake up, because right now there's a voice in your head. It's been there since you were a kid. Maybe it started in 3rd grade when you raised your hand and the teacher called on someone else. Maybe it crystallized when your father looked at you with that specific kind of disappointment that cuts deeper than any words. Maybe it solidified the first time someone less qualified got the promotion you earned. That voice whispers, "I'm not enough." And from that belief, you constructed an entire architecture of compensation. You became competent. You became nice. You became reliable. You became the person who works weekends, takes the difficult clients, never complains, never asks for more. You thought, if I just prove my value, they'll finally see me. But they don't see you. Because you're operating on a false belief system. The false belief: power respects virtue. The truth Machiavelli understood: power respects leverage. Let me show you what's really happening. You're trying to connect with powerful people by offering friendship, by being authentic, by showing up as yourself. But here's the brutal truth. Powerful people don't need more friends. Their contact lists are maxed out. Their inboxes overflow with people wanting their time, their attention, their approval. What they need are assets. They need people who solve problems they can't solve, who see threats they can't see, who provide value they can't get anywhere else, who reflect back to them the image they're desperately trying to maintain. And you show up empty-handed, asking to be valued for who you are. That's not strategy. That's hope. And hope is not a plan. Robert Greene writes in the 48 Laws of Power, when you show yourself to the world and display your talents, You naturally stir all kinds of resentment, envy, and other manifestations of insecurity. You thought shining brightly would attract power. Instead, you triggered their defense mechanisms. Because here's the psychological paradox nobody tells you. The most powerful people are often the most fragile. Their entire identity is constructed around being the smartest in the room, the most visionary, the most feared, the most respected. When you walk in radiating competence, showcasing your abilities, proving your worth, you don't look like an ally. You look like a threat. And threats get neutralized, ignored, sidelined, passed over. So you keep getting overlooked. Not because you lack ability, but because you're psychologically illiterate. You don't understand the game you're actually playing. Freud would call this a reaction formation, a defense mechanism where you transform your hunger for power into excessive niceness. You've repressed your natural drive for dominance and repackaged it as collaboration, teamwork, being a good person. But the repressed always returns. That's why you feel that rage at 3 in the morning. That's why you fantasize about telling them all off. That's why you're here right now, reading this, looking for permission to stop pretending. The permission is granted. Now we descend into the mechanics. The 13 laws that Machiavelli embedded in The Prince and Greene systematized in the 48 laws. But understand this before we continue. These are not moral laws. They're physical laws. Gravity doesn't care if you believe in it. It pulls you down regardless. Human nature doesn't care about your ethics. It operates whether you acknowledge it or not. You have a choice. Understand the laws and use them consciously, or remain subject to them unconsciously while wondering why nothing ever works out. Never outshine the master. This is the first commandment, and you're violating it every single day without knowing it. Your first instinct when meeting someone powerful is to impress, to prove you belong, to demonstrate your intelligence, capabilities, vision. You want them to see you as an equal, as someone worthy of their time. This is suicide. Machiavelli warned, "Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived." But the deeper truth is this: people's egos are battlefields. When you shine too brightly, you don't earn admiration, you earn resentment. Think about the new fighter who walks into the gym talking about how he's going to dominate everyone. What happens to him? The veteran puts him on his back in the first round. Not because the newcomer lacks skill, but because he threatened the hierarchy. He made the veteran feel diminished in his own domain. The same dynamic plays out in every boardroom, every networking event, every power structure. The strategy? Make them brilliant in your presence. Ask questions that allow them to provide the answer. Frame your insights as extensions of their vision. Feed their vanity until they lower their defenses. Let them feel like the smartest person in the conversation. This isn't weakness. This is camouflage. While they're admiring their own reflection in your mirroring, you're studying their patterns, mapping their vulnerabilities, securing your position in their orbit. When a Navy SEAL infiltrates enemy territory, he doesn't announce his presence. He blends in, studies, waits for the perfect moment to strike. Same principle here. Conceal your intentions. Law number 2 that separates amateurs from operators. A predictable person is a controllable person. If I know what you want, I know exactly how to manipulate you. I know which levers to pull, which buttons to push, which carrots to dangle. Most people wear their desperation like cologne. Their eyes scream, "I need something from you." Their body language pleads, "Please validate me." Their questions reveal, "I want access to your network." Desperation is repellent to power. The art is to become unreadable. Talk about everything except what you actually want. Create mystery around your motives. Make them chase the puzzle of who you are and what you're really after. Greene teaches, keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. When they can't decode your intentions, something fascinating happens. They become intrigued. They start projecting their own desires onto you. They begin pursuing you instead of you pursuing them. It's like poker. The amateur shows everything on his face. You can read his hand from across the room. The professional? You have no idea if he's holding pocket aces or absolute garbage until it's too late to adjust. In business, in relationships, in power dynamics, whoever reveals their hand first loses. Appeal to self-interest, never to mercy. This is Law 3, and it's where most good people fail spectacularly. Stop telling sob stories, stop appealing to fairness, stop expecting people to help you because it's the right thing to do. Powerful people are transaction engines. They're constantly calculating ROI, return on investment, not just financial but time, energy, reputation, political capital. They don't operate on charity, they operate on exchange. Find their pain, identify their unsolved problem, the thing keeping them up at 3 in the morning, the threat they see coming but don't know how to counter, the opportunity they're missing because they lack a crucial piece. Then position yourself as the solution. You're not asking for a favor, you're proposing an alliance, a trade, value for value. Machiavelli was brutally explicit. Men are less worried about offending someone they make themselves loved than someone they make themselves feared. Translation: be needed, not liked. When you solve the problem that's causing them pain, you stop being a petitioner. You become a resource, a strategic asset. And strategic assets don't get discarded, they get protected. Think about the military. The most valuable soldier isn't the one everyone likes. It's the sniper who can take out the target nobody else can hit. The intelligence officer who sees the threat before it materializes. The medic who keeps everyone alive. Be that person in the civilian world. Strategic absence. Law 4 that nobody talks about but everyone who has power understands instinctively. Over-availability signals low value. If you're always accessible, always free, always ready to drop everything for them, you're common. And common things are cheap. Powerful people respect scarcity because time is the only resource they cannot manufacture. They can make more money, they can hire more staff, but they cannot create more hours in the day. Be fully present when you engage. Magnetically, intensely, memorably present. Give them your complete attention. Make them feel like the only person in the world for that moment. Then disappear. Don't answer texts immediately. Don't clear your calendar. Don't be available at their convenience. Have a life, a mission, a gravitational center that doesn't revolve around their orbit. Your absence creates what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect, an open loop in their mind, unfinished business. They start wondering where you are, what you're doing, whether you're thinking about them. Your absence occupies mental real estate, and when you return, your presence becomes a reward rather than a given. It's like the franchise player in the NBA who sits out games to rest. Suddenly, everyone realizes how valuable he is. The team struggles, the fans complain. When he comes back, his value has doubled simply through absence. The Mirror of Narcissus. Fifth law, and this is where you become genuinely dangerous. Everyone is in love with themselves. Even humble people are secretly obsessed with their own worldview, their own struggles, their own narrative. Most people try to connect by talking about themselves, their achievements, their ideas. This is noise in the signal. To connect with power, become a mirror, reflect their image back to them, slightly enhanced, slightly idealized, match their tempo, adopt their vocabulary, mirror their body language subtly, use their metaphors and frameworks. This isn't mimicry, it's neurological synchronization. When you mirror effectively, their subconscious labels you as same tribe, and same tribe equals safe, and safe equals trusted. Think about hostage negotiators. They don't argue with the kidnapper. They mirror his breathing, his speech patterns, his emotional state. They create rapport at a neurological level. People don't want to be challenged. They want to be confirmed. They want to see themselves reflected back as the hero of their own story. Be that confirmation. When they look at you, let them see the best version of themselves staring back. Become the gatekeeper of information. Law 6 that transforms you from outsider to insider. In the modern world, information is the real currency. Not just any information, secret information. Intelligence that others don't have. Powerful people are isolated, surrounded by yes men who tell them what they want to hear. starving for truth but unable to access it because everyone around them has an agenda. If you become the source of valuable, unfiltered intelligence, you become indispensable. Did you hear what the competitor is planning? There's a vulnerability in the system nobody's reporting. A market shift they need to see before it hits. A reputation threat developing in the shadows. You're not gossiping. You're operating as their early warning system, their intelligence network, their eyes and ears in places they can't access. When you trade in secrets, you elevate from outsider to co-conspirator. And there's no bond stronger than conspiratorial alliance. Two people who share information nobody else has. Warning, never reveal all your sources. Maintain your monopoly on the intelligence supply. The moment they can get the information elsewhere, your value diminishes. The useful enemy. Seventh law that creates instant bonding. Nothing unites people faster than a shared enemy. This is in-group, out-group bias, hardwired into human psychology since our tribal days. Find out what they hate. Inefficiency, bureaucracy, a specific competitor, the way things have always been done, the old guard resisting change. Align yourself with that hatred. I can't believe how mediocre this industry has become. It's exactly what you've been saying for years. When you validate their enemies, you validate their struggle. You're saying, I see the dragon you're fighting. I'm here to hand you the sword. I'm here to fight alongside you. This creates a cult dynamic. Us versus them. And in the trenches of imaginary war, loyalty is forged in blood. Play to their fantasy. Law 8, where psychology becomes art. Machiavelli understood. People don't live in reality. They live in fantasies of who they believe they should be. The brutal CEO wants to see himself as a benevolent father figure. The chaotic entrepreneur wants to be viewed as a disciplined visionary. The insecure politician wants to be seen as a savior of the people. Your job, identify their fantasy and play the supporting role that makes that fantasy real. If they want to be the wise mentor, become the eager protege. If they want to be the revolutionary, become the loyal lieutenant. If they want to be the king, become the trusted knight. Don't force them to face reality. Reality is painful. That's why they have money and power. To insulate themselves from it, to construct a world where the fantasy can survive. If you support their delusion, they will protect you with their life. Because if you leave, the fantasy crumbles and they have to face the mirror. Emotional alchemy. Ninth law that makes you irreplaceable. Powerful people carry storms inside. Anxiety, pressure, the weight of decisions that affect hundreds or thousands of lives, the constant fear of losing it all. Most people add to that storm. They bring problems, drama, urgency, more things to worry about. To become untouchable in their world, be the calm in their chaos. When they're frantic, you're measured. When they're angry, you're steady. When they're spiraling, you're the ground beneath their feet. Absorb their chaos and reflect back clarity. I understand the problem. Here's the solution. It's handled. Those 3 words, it's handled, are the most seductive phrase in the language of power. You're removing weight from their shoulders. You're creating space for them to breathe. You become a sanctuary in a world of fire. They'll start craving meetings with you, not for business, for how you make them feel, for the peace you provide in a life of constant turbulence. Assume formlessness. 10th law, borrowed from water. Bruce Lee said, be like water. The rigid break. The flexible survive. When dealing with power, you cannot have a fixed identity. You must adapt to every situation, every person, every context. Some days you lead, some days you follow. Some days you're aggressive, some days submissive. Some days you're the visionary, some days you're the executor. Adapt to the culture of whoever you're engaging. If they're formal, you're formal. If they're casual, you're casual. If they drink whiskey, you drink whiskey. If they wake up at 5, you wake up at 4:30. Remove all friction. Make it effortless for them to integrate you into their world. The perfect operator blends in so completely that when it's time to stand out, the contrast is devastating. Create dependency. 11th law, the ultimate power move. Make yourself necessary. Not just useful, not just valuable, necessary. If they can replace you with a LinkedIn post, you're in danger. If losing you would hurt them more than it would hurt you, you're safe. Weave yourself into the fabric of their success. Master a skill they hate, but that's essential. Own a relationship with a client they can't afford to lose. Become the keeper of knowledge that only exists in your head. You want to become the bridge between them and something they desperately need. If you're the bridge, they can't burn you without destroying their own access. Don't teach them everything you know. Keep the deepest skills proprietary. Maintain asymmetric knowledge. You want them to wake up at 3 a.m. thinking, what would I do if they left? Once you achieve that thought, you've won. Control the options. 12th law of invisible influence. The most powerful person in the room isn't giving orders. They're the one who designed the menu of choices. When presenting options, don't offer unlimited possibilities. That creates decision paralysis. Curate the choices. We can do option A, which risks X but gains Y, or option B, which costs Z but delivers W. Frame the options so that the path you prefer appears as the only logical choice. They make the decision, they feel autonomous, but you built the road they're walking on. Machiavelli. A wise prince should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others. By controlling the framework of the decision, you control the outcome without appearing to control anything. Radical autonomy. The 13th and final law, the paradox that makes everything else work. Here it is. To connect with powerful people, you must not need them. If your soul depends on their approval, they'll smell it. They'll sense the hunger, the desperation, the need, and they'll treat you exactly like what you are. A fan, a petitioner, someone beneath their level. True power recognizes true power. You must cultivate radical autonomy. Have your own mission, even if it's smaller than theirs. Have your own code, your own vision, your own kingdom. Be genuinely willing to walk away from the deal if it doesn't serve you. The person willing to walk away holds all the leverage in any negotiation. When you sit across from a billionaire, a senator, a titan of industry, you must know in your bones, I will be fine without you. I'm here to trade, not to take. I'm here to build, not to beg. This energy shift changes everything. Your voice drops half an octave. Your eye contact holds a second longer. You stop fidgeting. Your body language radiates certainty. You become solid. And that solidity is magnetic to power because powerful people are surrounded by fluid people. People who bend, who adapt, who morph into whatever is needed for approval. When they meet someone solid, someone who respects them but doesn't worship them, someone who sees them clearly without illusion, they're fascinated. Be the immovable object. Be sovereign over your own mind. Connect from wholeness, not from lack. Let these 13 laws settle into your nervous system. I know what you're thinking. This sounds cold, calculating, Machiavellian, and not in a good way. It is all those things. But look around. Look at the structures governing your life, your company, your government, your economy, your society. Do you think they were built on transparency and fairness? Or were they built on strategy, leverage, and deep understanding of human nature? You have a choice right now. You can remain innocent. You can cling to the belief that the world should be fair, that good people should win, that merit should matter most. You can stay in the passenger seat, complaining about the direction while someone else steers your life. Or you can grab the wheel. Machiavelli wasn't evil. He was honest. He looked into the abyss of human behavior and didn't flinch. He saw that we're driven by fear, ego, and the need for security. He saw that power doesn't flow to the deserving. It flows to those who understand the current. Using these laws isn't about abusing people. It's about understanding them better than they understand themselves. It's about speaking to their shadows, not just their masks. It's about seeing the game clearly instead of pretending it doesn't exist. When you apply these 13 laws, everything shifts. You stop being invisible. You stop waiting for a savior. You stop believing that someday, somehow, someone will finally recognize your worth. You become the strategist, the operator, the one who sees the board while others are still looking for the pieces. You realize that powerful people aren't gods. They're just players who learned the rules earlier than you did. And now that you know the rules, you're playing the same game they are. The 13 laws aren't chains binding you to darkness. They're keys unlocking doors you didn't know existed. But keys are useless without the discipline to turn the lock, without the courage to walk through the door, without the commitment to become someone new. This isn't a destination, it's a practice, a daily choice to see clearly instead of comfortingly, to operate strategically instead of hopefully. The world is designed to put you back to sleep, to make you compliant, to keep you a pawn on someone else's board. If you refuse to return to unconsciousness, if you're ready to sharpen your mind until it cuts through the noise, then make the choice right now. Write in the comments which law hit you hardest, which one revealed something you've been avoiding, which one you're going to implement first. Not for me, for you. Because when you declare publicly what you're integrating, you create commitment. You put a stake in the ground, and public commitment becomes reality. But I'll be direct. This isn't for everyone. Most people will watch this, feel something stir, and return to the same patterns tomorrow. They'll go back to being invisible, back to waiting to be chosen, back to wondering why nothing ever changes. And that's fine. The world needs followers. Someone has to be the base of the pyramid. Someone has to occupy the cubicles while others sit in corner offices. But if you felt the shift, if you recognize that you've been playing a game you didn't know existed, you can't go back to being a puppet. Once you see the strings, you can never unsee them. The next transmission goes deeper into what happens between Law 7 and Law 8, the most dangerous crossing. The space where most people fail because what you have to sacrifice to truly ascend, most aren't willing to lose. But if you are, I'll see you on the other side, where the few arrive.